From a dark entity attacking its victim inside their bedroom, to a terrifying encounter with a vehicle's passenger, these are 5 bone-chilling and allegedly true demonic encounters. To help me with today's video, I'm joined by Night Terror. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to his channel. I'll link it in the video description below. I am Fearcrawler. Welcome to the video. Shortly after my second divorce, I went through a period of anger and depression. I found myself constantly questioning God why my life was not going well. One Saturday morning, it was about 2 a.m. I was laying on the living room floor watching the television. I felt so restless and could not go to sleep. As I was laying there, I saw out of the corner of my eye a shadow pass from the kitchen and go into my bedroom. Thinking it was just my imagination, I did not give it a second thought. A little later, I could hear in a raspy tone something going, I turned around, still laying on the floor, and felt something heavy jump on my chest. I could not move and was totally in the worst fear of my life. I closed my eyes and felt whatever this thing was, breathing inches away from my face, and it was the foulest smell I have ever known. The smell was worse than that of rotting meat. In fear and in desperation, I called upon God but could not get the words out. I was babbling and still unable to move, and I definitely did not want to open my eyes for fear of what I may have seen. I felt its foul, hot breath inch closer to my face, and in a menacing voice, it said,
"Open your eyes and see who commands you."
At that point, I started to talk to God with my mind and asked him to forgive me for questioning him and for anything I may have done to offend him or anyone. I promised God that if he were to remove this presence away from me, I would never love anything or anyone in this world more than I loved him. At that very moment, I felt the weight lift off my chest and felt a peace like none before. This all happened in the spring of 1985 in San Antonio, Texas. I did move shortly after that, and while I still have had other supernatural and paranormal experiences, this one was by far the worst and the scariest.
This is my ex-boyfriend's story. The same story that got me interested in the other world. I wasn't there when this happened, but here's the story he told me. Apparently, one night while he was laying in bed, not quite asleep yet, he felt as if a hand were going through his chest and grabbing onto his heart, trying to stop it. It was squeezing his heart so tight he could barely breathe. He tried screaming for help, but no one else was home. No one outside the house could hear him either. At least, no one helped him if they could. Then, whatever it was lifted him up off the bed and slammed him down. It did this a few times. When his sister finally came home, it stopped. This happened a few times in that house. He lives in an apartment now and nothing has happened as of yet. He also said that every once in a while at that house, he would feel as if something grabbed hold of his arm and banged it against the table, that he had no control over it. I've racked my brain to figure out what this could have been, especially since at the time when he told me the story I was such a skeptic.
My name is Dan, and this event happened to me about 10 years ago. I have never told anyone about this account, not even my parents. It was roughly 1999. I do not recall what month, but my mother just divorced from my father about 2 or 3 years ago, and since then she met my stepdad, and we moved in with him. I had a younger brother at the time who was only 3. I do not remember what town we were in, but I do remember what state. We were in Pennsylvania, and I believe we were about 10 or 15 minutes away from my future stepfather's parents' house. So it was a cold and rainy night. My stepfather was away on a business trip. I was running a fever that night. I slept down on the couch while my mom and brother were upstairs. My mom left the television on, but it was muted, and I went to sleep. At about 1 a.m., I woke up, but I knew that something was wrong. Something was not supposed to be there. I heard a low, dark voice say my name. It was weird, because it sounded like the source of my name caller was in a tunnel. But I was already afraid of the dark, and believe it or not, I still am to this day. I can't go to sleep without a source of joy in my room. I listen to Christian music and Christmas music all year long because of my unexpected visitor that night. So I looked up, still rubbing my eyes, and saw this dark figure in the corner. As strange as this may sound, it didn't react to me getting up off the couch. At first, I thought it was my stepdad. I got nearer, and I got this sudden feeling like I shouldn't get closer. But I did anyway. I actually reached out to touch it, but that's when this thing hissed at me and showed me what it was. The image still haunts me to this day.
I'm close friends with two very sensitive girls. Sensitive in the paranormal sense. They both told me this story and it really creeped me out. They're pretty sure they saw a demon. The two of them were walking downtown here in the wine country. It was still light out and they were heading for a brewery. All of a sudden they see this young man, Sam, being harassed by the police. Sam's homeless, talks to himself and has stalked people and writes about the devil. He's pretty scary to be around. My friends keep walking after seeing him, and then slowly a car pulls up beside them. In the back seat with the window down is a teenage girl. She's leering at them. She's wearing all black and is almost green in skin colour, much like a dead person. The look on her face was so scary that my friends took off running. One of them started to cry. As they run down the street, they see the same girl standing ahead of them. It would not have been humanly possible for her to have gotten out of the car and run down the street before them. She just appeared. They hurriedly ran into the brewery and prayed that she wouldn't come after them. They told me they'd never wish this experience on anyone. They've both seen a lot of ghosts, but never a demon. They're wondering if the demon was connected to Sam. He seemed to be interested in witchcraft and has a very negative energy to him. He actually stalked one of the girls that saw the demon. This was previous to the encounter. What do you think it was?
I will start off by saying I've had many strange and creepy experiences with the supernatural, but this tops it. A little backstory. The house I lived in was haunted and also had multiple deaths, but the spirits in no way were harmful. In March of this year, I was having a few drinks with my roommates, having a great time. I ran to the bathroom and decided to look into my room. A couple weeks prior to this, I noticed a tall, dark shadow figure standing in the corner. So I go into my room, and what happens next I have no recollection, but my roommates confirmed everything. I ran out of my room screaming that the shadow was back, just hanging out in my closet. Afterwards, I bolted out of the house and flagged down a car, and told the driver I couldn't be in the house anymore, and that something was after me. After this, I took off running to the back of the house. My roommate finally came out to find me slouched over with my head dangling, so he put his hand on my shoulder to get my outdoor motion light to turn on. He turned around for maybe 5 seconds, and I just disappeared into thin air. I quite literally vanished. He said I didn't walk or run. I was disappeared without a trace for 15 minutes. My roommate and sister said they heard me yelling and cussing at something all around the house, yet they never did see me anywhere. I finally managed to come to and got violently shoved to the ground. No memory of anything. I have no idea where I vanished to, or what I was trying to fight off, but I do know the thing that lurked around my house was about 8 feet tall, with red eyes, horns, and hooves. Fast forward to a week later, I was waking up with bruises and scratches, but no idea where they came from. Well, that night, I was having a drink when I blacked out, not from the drink, mind you, and when I came to, I saw blood all over my house. I had been scratched on my nose, but it wasn't a scratch. It was a claw mark. I don't know how it got there or what caused it. I have such a gap in memory of both of these incidents. Very terrifying experience, and I'm working on looking into where I disappeared to, and why. That's all for today's video. Again, I want to give a special thank you to Night Terror for helping me out today. I definitely recommend you check out his channel, as he is a terrific narrator. Thank you guys for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. Until next time, take care, be safe, and stay scared.